Many of the stories or attempted actions described in them, they are AI and purely for entertainment purposes. Hell.
Year-old Zack Penrose, an experienced mechanic, with dreams that never left the garage, lives at home with his parents in Evergreen, Alabama. Felt every day was a copy-paste of the last. No girlfriend, no prospects, no escape. Then an argument that broke everything wasn't even new, just louder, his father's voice like sandpaper on a steel pipe. "You think life's just gonna hand you a purpose, boy?" Zack snapped back with profane words he couldn't take back, and the next morning he left. Toolbox in the bed of his truck. A few shirts, a tent, the money he managed to save over time, and a heart full of resentment. He wandered for weeks at rest stops and wherever until he stumbled into Carnistown, Florida, a swamp-fringed pit stop deep in the Everglades. A faded sign in the window of a bait and gift shop read, "Help wanted, boot repair and tows." Zack took the job, learned fast boats were like cars without roads. He liked them better. Honestly, in exchange for helping fix up busted airboats and patching swamp skiffs. The old man who owned the shop let him hook his camper he bought recently up behind the shop near a wall of mangroves. Over the next 3 years, Evergreen faded like an old brew. Zack grew a beard, drank sweet tea from mason jars, and called gators neighbors. He also began crafting a boat of his own, a project cobbled together from discarded hulls, mismatched motors, and years of spare parts. One evening, with humidity thick and the sky turning gold, Zack finally launched his homemade boat, his Frankenstein vessel. The engine sputtered, but Caudy grinned, pushed deeper into the glades. At first, it worked fine. The farther he went, the denser the sawgrass and the less familiar the water channels became. When the motor groaned and locked and the rudder jammed, he realized the boat had failed, and worse, he was somewhere deep in the marsh where his tour had ever gone. That's when he saw it. What he thought was a floating branch ahead, but realized with his swamp navigation experience, it's a gator. The alligator moved toward the stalled boat, tail sweeping the reeds. Zack reached for his paddle, and that's when the stench hit him. Like rotting meat, sulfur, and wet dog hair baking in the sun. Then came a roar, so deep it shook the metal beneath his boots, followed by thudding, slapping footsteps into the muddy bank from the left side behind some palmetto thickets. The creature emerged. A hulking, ape-like beast at least 7 feet tall, matted in brownish-black hair with the shoulders of a linebacker and the uncanny, intelligent eyes of something not quite human. With terrifying ease, the creature leapt into the water, grabbed the gator while it was flailing, and slammed it against the canal bank again and again until it died. Then it stored its dinner in a cache of reeds and mud, somewhere to keep it safe from other predators. But the skunk-ape wasn't done. It turned its head toward Zack. Its eyes narrowed. Zack's heart thundered. It didn't growl, it didn't roar, it disappeared with a splash. Zack stood, paddle in hand, breath frozen. Then, wham, the entire boat capsized, violently tossing him into the muck as shadow passed beneath him. He kicked, panicked, but the skunk-ape returned only to its kill, satisfied that Zack posed no threat to its dinner. Gasping, soaked, and trembling, Zack managed to inflate the emergency raft strapped to his backpack. With his bare hands, he slapped the water, using them as paddles, dragging himself mile by agonizing mile. By the time he reached the edge of the boat shop's dock, the sun was rising, and he was grateful he made it back. Zack left Carnistown that same week, no notice, no goodbyes. He returned to Evergreen, Alabama, gaunt, sunburned, eyes haunted. But this time when he knocked on his parents' door, not saying anything, his father hugged him, and they never spoke of the fight again. He got his old job back, fell in love with the woman who ran the front office at the tire shop. They married a year later. A baby girl came soon after, peace at last. But on some hot, humid, silent nights, Zack stands barefoot in his backyard, staring at the tree line, remembering that awful roar and the crackle of reeds haunting him.